नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याधिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि.
Yes, Nityanandam, and welcome back to Paramashivoham Level-2 after this powerful darshan from Swamiji in the form of Bhagavan Jwalapakramurti, initiating us to design or redesign our body through the power of consciousness as we walk. So today, throughout these sessions, we have explored the science of health, conscious health, how the state of our health is very much connected to the state of our consciousness, and how our body itself reflects the inner space and the thought currents that we have, finally culminating in this very powerful darshan where Swamiji initiated us to manifest the body that we want, connecting with Paramashiva inside us by connecting with the source of our first person. And from there, from that space, from that pure consciousness, we have the power to redesign our body. In fact, Swamiji revealed that the body that we have presently, whether we like it or not, has been directly 3D printed by ourselves, by our own consciousness. So the body that we have reflects the way we live. And today in these Paramashivoham Level 2 sessions, we are
Just a month ago, before I started my trip, maybe 1.5 months ago, one lady, she came to meet me. She was having 20 years of psoriasis, skin disease. She said, I have tried all possible medications, Swamiji. Please help me, do something and help me. I was sitting and speaking to her. When I was speaking, I was able to identify, find out. She has got a deep self-condemnation. She has got a deep self-condemnation and low self-esteem about herself. After speaking to her, I just gave her a small suggestion. Please stand in front of mirror and shout at yourself, scream at yourself for 15 minutes a day. This is what I gave. Stand in front of mirror for 15 minutes and shout, scream as much as possible on you. Bring out the anger, the violence, self-condemnation which you have on yourself. I told her, shout, bring it out, express it, vomit it out, finish it off. Of course, naturally she said, no, how can I do all these things? I am already in depression and disturbed mood. You are telling me to do something impractical. Swamiji, don't tell all these things. I told her, please try just for 21 days. I am not asking more, just 15 minutes, 21 days. You are suffering 20 years. Why not give me 20 days? She said, all right, I'll try. I just told her, stand in front of mirror, feel as if you are going to jump out of your skin, shout, scream as much as possible, condemn yourself as much as possible, shout at yourself as much as possible, bring all the negativity out and throw away. You will be surprised, you will be shocked. We have recorded medically, 15th day she was totally healed. In 15 days she is totally healed and it never came back. Of course, she says, in these 20 years, not even one day her skin has become alright. Even if she takes strong medication, she will only feel a little bit of development, never a total cure. Now, without any medication, without any medicine, just by meditation, totally she has been healed. This is a technique from Sufism. The technique which I gave her is from Sufism. Totally she has been healed. Difficult to believe. But like the same way, thousands and thousands of cases were recorded. Actually, skin disease is nothing but the byproduct of self-condemnation and low self-esteem. Same way, we have thousands of written testimonials, written letters and medical reports for the power of meditation to cure the sicknesses physically. Of course, mentally, there is no need even for any testimonial. If you just practice, you will understand. To know the apple is tasty, you don't need any testimonial or certificate. Have a bite, you will understand. To know the meditation cures mental sicknesses. Meditation makes you feel the well-being inside your mind. You don't need to believe, just have a bite. Then you will realize what miracles meditation does. It gives you a deep fulfillment, not only health, deep fulfillment.
Here to give the experience. One more thing. I've always seen a deep inferiority complex in all teachers. Teachers suffer with inferiority complex. To hide their inferiority complex only they start teaching. See, when you are teaching, you can show you are a big guy. Really, it's a big addiction. You don't know. It's a big addiction. Be very clear. Teaching gives you a big strength. You feel you become a big guy. Your ego is strengthened when you teach. That is the reason you will find thousands and thousands of teachers, but not a single student. Be very clear. Never think people who are sitting in front of the teacher they are students. No. They are learning just to become a teacher. They are not students. They are just waiting to catch that seat. You can't directly catch the seat. You need to know something. So just for that, they put up with the teacher's teachings. Anyhow, all right, tell whatever you want. I will have to sit in that chair. For that, I also need to repeat all these things. Let me listen. Students are polite. They relax, keep quiet so that they can start their turn. That's all. Never think somebody is a student just because he is sitting in front of the teacher. All teaching is just pure ego game. He is trying to show his greatness, and student is just waiting so that he can show his greatness to somebody else. He is just putting up with the teachings so that when time comes, he can start. That is why I have always seen the moment class is over, people will go back to their house and start teaching. If you digested, you will never feel like opening the mouth. I have seen, even when people listen, in the mind they take notes. I should go and tell this to my mother-in-law. I should go and tell this to my father-in-law. I should go and tell this to my friends. I should go and tell this to my wife. Of course, you can't tell your wife, that is different. At least I should go and tell this to my husband. You just develop your intellect so that you can use it on your family and friends. And you just use all these teachings to support what you want to express. What do you want to express? And one more thing, I have seen people sharpening their intellect with my teachings and using it to fulfill their wishes. Whenever they couldn't get something out of somebody, they will start using these teachings in their own form. In the mind, they will have all the notes, whatever is said. When they go back, they will manipulate as they want and use it to get what they want. Let it be very clear. That's the reason here Shiva is not interested in giving any teachings. He's straight. I think he doesn't want to contribute to the already existing confusions.
Help you in thousands of ways. First thing, the guilt-free life is nothing but heaven. It is just heaven. Now, as on now, anything you do, you have a guilt. Even if there is nothing bad or nothing wrong is going to happen, that incident, you know very clearly nothing bad is going to happen. Even then you have a small itching sensation, irritation feeling. Irritation is the son of guilt. Guilt only gives birth to the irritation. Irritative feeling, a dull feeling, all these things are disciples of guilt. When you have guilt, all these things will be following you. Almost guilt makes you a schizophrenia. Daytime you are a different personality, nighttime you are a different personality. Both can meet and merge with each other. Both can share their views with each other. Guilt is the thick wall, the china wall between you and your night life, you and your other personality. Almost every one of us got night life separately, day life separately. Your being is just cut into half. You are just separated. You behave one way in the front, one way in the back. You live one way in the society, one way when you are alone. Guilt is the wall which makes you not to meet yourself. Whenever some thought, the so-called immorality, when it arises, immediately you suppress it with the guilt. If you have a little bit of courage to face it, to allow that to come up, then you will see the same thought. If it is right, it will be materialized. If it is wrong, it will become nothing. It will simply disappear. But you don't have so much of patience or consciousness. You just want to press everything. You just want everything to be controlled. You just want everything to be under your control. You see, it's like your kids are playing in your bedroom. Of course, when they play in your bedroom, it is nothing less than hell. They make hell. Suddenly some guest has come. What you do? Immediately you put the screen, lock the door, cover the whole bedroom. You don't let them go into that room at all, near that room at all. The same way, inside, there is a portion in your being which is totally dirty. Not even actually dirty, so-called dirt. When the kids play, it is not that, it has become dirty. Just if you spend 10 minutes, you can put the things back and everything will become alright. But for the sake of emergency, what you do? You just lock it, finish. Same thing you do with your personality also. To show it to the society, you just lock that portion. You never open it. Because you have not opened for a long time, it starts getting smelled. It just becomes like a wound. Guilt is the gate, or guilt is the screen with which you cover everything. Let us work on the guilt. It just expands. We are going to work on the next layer. The guilt, the greatest enemy. Many people come and tell me, Swamiji, my wife is caught by the ghost. My husband is caught by the ghost. Or my son-in-law is being possessed by some spirit. Actually, the greatest ghost or greatest devil, the greatest spirit which can possess the people is the guilt. There is no other spirit, no other evil, no other devil, no other ghost except this guilt. The guilt is the greatest ghost which has caught everybody. Don't think somebody is having the guilt and somebody is not having. Everybody. You may be thinking, see, I have done only one small mistake. After all, one murder. For this itself, I am feeling so guilt. And I have seen the criminals who have done so many things, so many murders and so many criminal activities. They all don't feel guilt at all. You may be thinking in your mind, they are all quite happy, they are all quite comfortable, just moving around, enjoying the life. But you do not know how much of guilt each one has got. He will be having his own guilt. So never think only you have guilt and somebody else is not having. Everyone has got the guilt. Let us work into the guilt. G-U-I-L-T. Let it become G-I-L-L-T. What I say, creating morality out of understandings. As long as they are understandings, they are nectar for your life. They create a tremendous intelligence in your life. The moment they are reduced to to a superstitious belief. The moment they are reduced as a morality, they create deep guilt in you, and the guilt is the sure killer of intelligence. According to me, guilt is the worst killer of intelligence. Guilt will never let you move in your life. One small incident. One of our devotees, she had a tumor in the end of the spinal cord, the root chakra, the Muladhara chakra. For 20 years she suffered. She came to me complaining, Swamiji, please help me, heal me. I am suffering with this tumor for so many years. And she says, even after surgery, it again comes back. She even underwent surgery, but it came back. I started talking to her slowly to trace the origin of the problem. Finally, she opened up and started weeping. She said, I asked her, do you have any guilt related to your sex energy? She slowly opened up and started weeping. She said she was abused when she was very young. When she was a kid, she was sexually abused. One of her own close relatives exploited her for so many years. And that guilt stayed with her. And she says, I started hating the very portion of my body. That part of my body itself I started hating. I started feeling that part of the body should not exist in my body. I started feeling that's different from my body. That is not my being. My hatred towards that person has turned towards my own body. When you start hating some action, you start hating that part of the body also. My hatred has become so deep. Swamiji, that is the root. I was speaking to her, slowly she opened up and she wept, and when she confessed, when she brought the guilt out, I was talking to her, she came out of the guilt and she was psychologically healed. And I was explaining how this is a usual thing which is happening. Now they say 1 in the 4 are getting sexually abused, especially in America. I read a report just the other day. 1 in 4. Of course, kids don't open up and kids don't tell you. Anyhow, when she was psychologically healed, when I explained the nature of all these things, you will be surprised. I can tell you one thing, it's a truth. What I am telling you is a truth. Just in 10 days, simply tumor disappeared. I gave a small meditation technique to meditate on the area. I told her, express your anger towards him. Weep, shout, cry. Just close the doors, be in a separate room, and take a pillow, think of him, beat, shout, cry, throw your anger out, and after that, sit silently and feel that part of your body, that part is also your body. Stop hating that part of your body. You will be surprised. Just a simple technique. 10 days, tumor disappeared, never came back. Never came back. I don't know, little difficult to understand, but truth.
First of all, you create a very disempowering, inadequate cognition about you, and then you feel shy about it, and then you create an alternative compensating cognition, and you spend your whole life defending the alternative compensating cognition, which is your outer image. Till the end, you never feel satisfied because you feel the guilt you showed, which is not true, without realizing your true identity is much, much, much more than which you can imagine and show. Whole life ends in deep incompletion, and your trial and error methods you do with the incompletions. Understand this example. You are actually rich, but suddenly, for some reason, you fell into the coma and forgot the bank account number and password and the amount of money you had, $10 billion you had in Swiss bank. You forgot all the details. And you wake up and feel you are poor, but you wanted to project yourself as a rich to the world. So you go on trying hard, struggling with your whole life, just to project as an alternative, compensating cognition, outer image. I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. Your whole life goes in proving that. Suddenly, before death, again you fall into the coma and remember that you had so many $1 billion in this bank, in this country. This is the account number and password. But now nothing can be done. You are dying. This is exactly is your life. If you complete now, first thing, you will realize the alternative compensative cognition is a lie and it will melt down. Second thing, your disempowering cognition about yourself, that will melt down. Third, you will realize your original self is much more than what you projected as your outer image, alternative compensating cognition. And you will have complete easiness between what you feel as you and what you show as you and what you are as you. Completion melts down all the obstructions. The obstructions for your realizations are like mountains, heap of mountains, but the process of completion and completing can melt down even the mountains of incompletions. So complete with everything. Especially with this right context, the context of enlightenment. Understand, this completion is used in many traditions by many teachers, gurus, psychiatrists. But the context in which I am using is totally different. Here I am giving completion to completion. This completion will give completion to your completion. Please understand. This is the answer for many questions I received. Knowing that you can never live in the present moment takes away the great guilt which is created in you by the wrong practice, wrong sadhana. Try to live in present moment. Till you die, you will not be able to live. That's the first thing. Second important thing, by remembering whether you are thinking about the past or the future, you are in the present. You are living in the present from this moment. Whenever you want to live in the present, just remember, wow, I am thinking about my past, but in present. I am thinking about my future, but in present. One devotee is writing, yes, I know, I am living in the present, even if I think about past, but what to do? I had a past did happen. Okay, nothing wrong. Please understand, if you are suffering because you are constantly thinking about the past, you will have suffering. But if you remember, yes, past did happen, it's okay. Now I am thinking about that in present only. Because I think about the past, it is not the thing that I am lost in the past. No. Past happened, but I am in present. It's already gone. Past is like a water left your feet. If you are sitting in the river, the water left your feet, even if it is dirty, you are not going to be disturbed. The water which is coming, if that is also dirty, you are not going to be disturbed. The water which is at your feet, if that is dirty, only then you are going to be disturbed. So knowing the past and the future is happening in the present, you are free. You are in the present. I can say it's a technique for instant enlightenment. First thing, whether you are thinking about past or thinking about the future, remember you are in the present. Immediately you will see the load of the past and the future will not be there on you. Yes, I am thinking about what I did yesterday. I am thinking what I am going to do tomorrow in present. A sudden shift in your whole energy flow and experience. I tell you, when you complete, do not have apologetic mood. Do not feel the guilt. You have done something wrong. No. Because if you feel guilty, you will not go through all the past and complete. Because even one or two will make you so tired, you will be agitated, irritated. You will think, what is this? Why should I think? So you will develop a subtle hatred towards completion. You will never sit for completion sessions. How many of you feel, listen, bored or tired, don't want to sit for completion? Raise your hand. All of you need to know, you are only having a deep guilt about past. You should know you have not done something wrong in the past, but listen, you have not done anything wrong in the past, but it was just inadequate cognition. You expecting you should have the adequate cognition from the childhood is impractical expectation in this society. Then you should have become my Gurukul child. In the society you can't expect to have a complete cognition. You can't expect society to allow you to continue to have a complete cognition. A child is allowed to have a complete cognition only in my Gurukul. And if you just allow the complete cognition, full brain of a child to be functioning, helping the child, encouraging the child to learn, so beautiful. So beautiful. So first thing you need to understand is completion is not feeling guilty about your past, remembering your past inadequate cognition and completing it so that decisions and patterns you developed during inadequate cognition does not need to continue to exist in your present inner space and affect your life now. If you are bored, unhappy, don't want to sit for completion, be very clear. You are not completing, you are just sitting with your past guilt and just brooding over. Just brooding over. Listen and understand. Completion is not apologizing. Same way when you are completing with others, don't be in the apologetic mood. You are not apologizing. Sometimes apologizing may happen. See, many times, only if you feel powerless, if you fall into the powerless mode, you apologize. Don't fall into powerless mode. Sit powerfully. Remember very clearly, when you had those powerless moments, some part of you have been stuck with others. Now you are reclaiming those parts. That's all. For example, if I had a fight with my elder brother when I was 6, and still that memory is there in me, that fear is there in me, that feeling is there in me, means still that 6-year-old child is influencing me. So all I am trying to do is I am liberating myself from that fear pattern which I created at the age of 6, which happened due to fighting with my brother. I am not now going and apologizing to my brother. Oh, sorry, that time I beat you. Now I apologize. No. You may apologize in some time, but completion itself is not just apologizing. It is like making the other person understand and making yourself understand that fighting in the young age created a strong fearful, powerless pattern in you which is responsible for still you struggling, suffering with a wrong cognition, improper, inadequate cognition. Completion means shifting the cognition from an inadequate cognition which is restrictive to an expansive cognition which expands you and the other person. I tell you, completion brings integrity in you, completion brings authenticity in you, completion brings responsibility in you, completion brings enriching in you, completion brings listening in you, completion brings completion in you. Completion is tapas, completion is yajna, completion is puja, completion is kriya, completion is homa, completion is jnana, completion is bhakti, completion is yoga, completion is completion. Completion in every level, completion in every step, completion in every way. Completion is Shraddha, completion is Shraddha. Completion is Tapa, completion is Puja.
Yes, we are back. We had a brief interruption, but fortunately we could play this video and start our next session on, we continue this science of health that we have been learning today. And another very important dimension of it, which is the completion with guilt. So very beautifully, Swamiji explained how guilt sits inside our system and acts like a poison, the very deep suppressed layers of us, and this guilt continuously stops us from living and from being who we want to be. And it is directly connected to the shine on our skin. So as we are going to be learning about the different levels of guilt and how to bring completion to all of these, and by doing so we will also retrieve the natural beautiful glow on our skin. So with this, now let's enter into a short internalization segment in which we will be learning deeper about how to complete with guilt.
Yes. So we will now be entering into the internalization exercise on how to do completion with our guilt pattern. So it's going to be a simple 2-step process, but we'll give a few minutes for each step. So let's enter into the first step. So you'll be taking a pen and paper and start writing, start penning down the first guilt that we acquired from the very childhood. The first guilt is always sexual in nature, on the sex layer. The guilt which is created by the parents and the family. The guilt which is created by the society. For example, I find the neighbor attractive. Is that okay to think like that? These kinds of doubts, questions when we have inside us these ideas, and they are suddenly suppressed with a negative connotation, as if there is something wrong about it fundamentally. That creates a deep layer of guilt inside us. So let's do the first step. Start penning down the first layer of guilt that was created in you right from a very early age, especially the guilt related to sex, the sexual layer. As the example which I just shared, you may have your own unique instances that triggered such guilt in you. So scan your early memory and find out, dig out such deep guilt that you have with respect to the sexual layer, which started especially from very early childhood. So let's start penning down. Yes. Hopefully you all penned down by now the earliest incidences and instances of guilt being created in you, especially related to the sexual layer, the sex-related guilt. Now let's address the other layers of guilt in you. The guilt which is created by family, such as I used the lawn mower without asking my mother. This kinds of guilt which is created by the family in general. It's a very simple example. There can be many more examples when the guilt in you is created by the family. Then there's a guilt which is created by the society. Example, I am not interested in having kids at this time in my life, but the society creates a certain kind of a pressure and a right wrong kind of a conception about, okay, this is the right time, this is the wrong time. And if you're not having kids at this point of time, there's something seriously wrong that you're doing, and it creates a guilt inside you. That is the example of guilt which is created in you by the society. Then after family and society, there's also guilt which you yourself create, such as I am not following the social norms, I am an outcast. Now, after this society and family's conditioning, you will have your own rule and you will start creating your own guilt. So we have our own frame into which we put ourselves and the world. And when we put ourselves into that frame, that right and wrong, those rules, we ourselves create the guilt that we are not being able to follow those rules or fit into that frame. So that is the guilt which is created by ourselves. So now please write down the reasons for the guilt and all your guilt. We've already penned down the first layer, that is the sex-related guilt. Now let's continue and pen down all these different layers of guilt. For example, the guilt which is created in you by the family, by the society, and then even by yourself, the guilt that you yourself created. One by one, very clearly, pen up each of these guilts and how they were created, the reasons. For example, just imagine God comes and may ask you, give your notebook, let me solve all the guilt. So what all the guilt has to be cleared, write it very clearly with that cognition, visualizing as if you will be giving this notebook to God himself or Swamiji himself. So very consciously and as deeply as possible, you write down, verbalize it properly. You may give a few more examples. For example, just now my career has taken a good turn and I can do what I want to do. It does require me to give in my full potential and work hard. Now, having a baby now, I won't be able to give him or her the love I want to. Surely caretakers and nanny is an option, but I want to raise my own kids, not how I was left unattended. What should I do? Soon I will cross 35, have heard about problems with having kids after 35 for both parents. What is the solution here? So these kinds of thoughts arise in you. That is the guilt, that is deep guilt that is created inside you just because you're not having kids at a particular age. So then the whole mind starts, it enters into that loop of justification, trying to find solution or some alternative or rationalization, something. So this is a kind of a guilt which is created in you by the society. Okay, so let's start penning down all these various kinds of guilts: family, society, and by yourself. And then we'll move to the third step. Let's start. Yes. So hopefully you've all penned down the various forms of guilt that you would have acquired from the very childhood itself. Now let's move to the third step. In this step, we will look into the way on how to actually complete from our guilt. So the method that is prescribed by Swamiji is just relax for 3 days with complete acceptance. If you relax for 3 days without the pull and the push in the inner and outer worlds, are you going to lose all your wealth or whatever you have? Not really. So there is no problem in doing this. Just 3 days. In 3 days, you're not going to lose anything. So why don't you give it a try? So for these 3 days, sincerely, utterly accept everything in your life, 100%. For example, let me relax. Okay, mother-in-law is asking for a baby, inner space is not ready. That is the situation as is. Let me just accept it. So this acceptance is what is really the key in completing with your guilt. Because we are not really accepting us and the situation as it is, we fall into the guilt pattern and the mind then starts creating the entire chain of thoughts. And we fall into that deep low, which continues to really eat us from within. Solution? Simple acceptance. 3 days, that's all what Swamiji is asking. 3 days, just be in the space of complete acceptance. Accept yourself as you are, accept every situation outside as it is, whatever it is, right, wrong, anything, just accept. Let's do it right now for a few minutes and see, get a knack of how to do this so that you can then continue with this practice for the 3 days. Now just sit with complete acceptance for 5 minutes. Drop all the pull and the push between your inner and outer worlds. All the resistance, all the tension that you carry, drop all of it. Just accept. Sit in complete acceptance. Okay, so let's now start. Yes. So let's now relax. So this is the process on how to complete with the guilt, basically. Just sitting in acceptance, as simple as that. But continuously, sincerely doing it, at least for 3 days, so that you really experience that space of completion with your guilt. And you'll see that once that completion happens more and more, glow, a shine, new kind of a shine will appear on your skin. You'll feel rejuvenated, as if a lot of load has been removed from you. So this is the way the completion with the guilt is done, the process. And for 3 days, let's all continue to be in this space of complete acceptance, to experience the space of completion with the guilt. So this brings us to the end of this internalization session. Next, we will be moving on to another meditation, which is designed and revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself to bring that intense healing energy into our system. It is called as Shakti Dharana meditation. So we will be learning on how to do this meditation, and we'll also be practicing it now so that we can learn this and then practice on our own as well.
Yes. So we are going to start our last session for today with this powerful Shakti Dharana meditation. This meditation directly helps us to channel healing energy, and that is why we are doing it today, as we have been initiated into the spiritual healing. And it is also ideal to do it after this completion with the guilt, so that all the patterns that we have started to complete with, as they are pulled through our muscle memory. Swamiji says that whenever we heal some incompletion, it always goes through our muscle memory. So that is why when we do all these intense processes, we always feel that our body goes through a lot. So now this meditation is also an opportunity to bring healing to all of this. And as we said, since we have been initiated today into the healer's initiation, it is very important for us to do this meditation today. This meditation should be followed by at least 15 minutes of rest. So depending on how your schedule is organized, the ideal is if you could have sleep, good and long sleep after that. But if not, at least make sure that you have 15 minutes of rest after this meditation. So this meditation, as we said, helps us to channel healing energy. It also helps us to relate with the Guru. If you remember what we have learned in relation to the spiritual healing, it is by connecting with Swamiji very deep inside us that this whole healing energy starts flowing through our system. Now, this Shakti Dharana meditation it helps you to merge with the energy of existence. It's like a prayer that brings very deep transformation inside you. And it also leads you to the gate, to the entrance of the fourth state of consciousness, which is the state of Turiya, by experiencing which you will experience a state of awareness, but without thoughts. So without the disturbance of thoughts, you will settle down into a state of awareness. And if after we do this meditation, if you have a good experience, you can repeat this meditation every night before going to sleep to bring a lot of healing to your system. We have learned so many techniques in this Paramashivoham, whichever, whatever you really connect with, what you're having a strong experience with, you can implement that in your daily routine. And so it is the case for this Shakti Dharana meditation. So now, let's begin. So the first step, actually there's only one step which consists of 2 different movements. Okay, so to start with, you're going to be standing on your knees. Okay, so you can kneel down on the ground, but do not sit on your hips. Okay, so you're going to be with a straight spine, only having your knees on the ground. And in this posture, close your eyes and raise both your hands upwards with your palms facing towards the sky. And you're going to be tilting your head slightly upwards and gazing up. All right? As we explained, if you have any doubt, please let us know in the chat and we'll guide you on how to perform this meditation correctly. Now, in this posture, feel the existential energy flowing intensely through you. So you're going to visualize that a light beam of existential energy is flowing through you. A very bright light beam of existential energy is flowing through you. And once you visualize that, just allow whatever happens to happen and cooperate with it. Whatever you feel in your body and mind, just cooperate with it and allow that to happen inside you. And once you have done that, so you can stand in this posture, let's say for about 2 minutes, standing on your knees with your hands facing up and gazing slightly up. And then after 2 minutes, bend down. You can now bring your elbows and your forearms to the ground, and you're going to be kissing the earth, or at least you can bring your forehead and touch the ground. So this constitutes 1 round, and you're going to be repeating that for a total of 7 times. All right. So I'll be projecting the instruction on your screen. If you have any doubt on how to perform, you can let us know. Otherwise, let's all start and perform this meditation. You're going to be performing this round for a total of 7 times. Let's start. and settle down. Not going to be making it too long, so we're already arriving towards the end of today's sessions. Bring awareness to whatever you have experienced in energy and in movement happening in your body. This meditation can trigger healing experiences. You can experience the liberation from patterns, and you can see participants are showing that's amazing energy. That's great. Great to know that you're having a powerful experience of this meditation. Then, if this is the case, then as we said before, Kumaraya, you can practice this meditation 15 minutes every day. It can be practiced either in the morning or in the evening before going to sleep, but make sure that you have 15 minutes of rest after that. And as you can see, as you have experienced today, it really triggers powerful energy inside your system, which will lead to a healing. And you can see also if you have done this completion with the guilt previously, then you can see that all these patterns that are pulled through the muscle memory, you will be able to experience all these, the healing process and the digestion process of all this muscle memory will become much faster. All right? Great. Okay, so with this, we conclude today's sessions. Today was again a very intense day as we have explored this science of health, how the state of our health is directly, intrinsically connected to the state of our consciousness. And once this is realized, once we manifest powerful cognitions and live based on these, we can have a complete control of everything, of our aging process, of the outer shapes of our body, how we look, and we can redesign our body and the way we live as we want. All right? So tomorrow, we'll be having again a very important and very dense day of sessions as we are going to be learning the science of unclutching. So it says that unclutching itself is, this one technique alone is capable of leading you to enlightenment itself. It can help you to complete with any pattern that you have. It can help you facing life situations. So if there is, if you're thinking, maybe from this Paramashivoham, I can take one technique, just one thing with me, then this unclutching technique that we are going to be elaborately learning tomorrow can be that. All right. Tomorrow's session we also have to deepen our feeling connection with Swamiji. All right. So we hope to see you tomorrow again for Paramashivoham Level 2. Make sure that you are there for the yoga session in the morning, 3 hours of Vidya Vinyasa Krana, which will prepare you and prepare your body to raise your consciousness and to live in those higher states. Now with this, let's conclude today's sessions with the Purna Mantra, sitting straight with our head, neck, and spine in a straight line, remembering Swamiji and expressing our gratitude for everything that we have received, creating a space of completion. Let us chant the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nityananda Paramashiva Paduka Namastu. Om Nityananda. Yes, thank you everyone. Nityanandam.